Long before the Mayflower landed on Plymouth Rock, Viking ships were making waves in the Atlantic. Viking seafaring success has long been attributed to their amazing shipbuilding skill. And now, nearly 400 years after the Mayflower sailed into Plymouth Harbor, a Viking warship has docked for a 4-day stopover to give visitors a chance to experience Norse history for themselves.
It's fantastic to come into a historical harbor with a historical ship. It's fantastic.
They are exploring America just as the Viking ancestors did.
The 115-foot Draken, which was built by a group of experienced boat builders, historians, and artists, proved its seaworthiness during Expedition America 2016, when she made the journey from her home port in Norway to Connecticut.
She spent about a year and a half down in Connecticut, doing repairs, taking tours, and now we are trying to explore, instead of coming to America, we are trying to explore within America.
It became a project because the owner who paid the whole thing, he was very interested in history, and he happens to live close to where Norway was gathered as a kingdom for the first time. And in fact, this boat is named after our first king. So he decided to get the best people in boat builders in Norway to build a ship like this to test the seaworthiness.
We show that this is possible with this ship, to crossing North Atlantic, some of the most dangerous waters around Greenland, and to Newfoundland with an open ship.
People tend to be a bit scared when they start in this boat, but when they see how nice it handles the seas, people get confident in it.
We have about 10 tons of stone on board in order to keep her stable. The idea is that if you would fall over and the boat would heel too much, the stones would just fall out and she would come back again. I was quite surprised when we hit the first storm. We sailed out of Shetland towards the Faroe Islands, and no one really knew how she was going to behave because it's the one design, it's the only ship of its kind, but she did very well.
To get a good crew is very important. We have 34 in the crew, and we're sleeping, 21 can squeeze into the tent, and the rest has to be out in watch, and then we change. And that's a little bit tough, but I like it. We are very pleased to be able to do this.
The 2018 Expedition America tour will travel to at least 14 harbors this year, from the coast of Maine to South Carolina, but they are not ruling out other destinations.
Right now we're thinking about maybe taking the ship through the Northwest Passage as the next adventure, or just taking it around the world. A little bit beyond what the Vikings did, but at the same time that's a little bit what we are about as well. We like to expand the horizons a bit.
Wherever the Draken goes, one thing is certain. It inspires visitors to reflect on the past.
There has been evidence found of permanent Viking settlements in North America. Alonzo Meadow up in Newfoundland. There are potential traces of settlements further south than that. A lot of people think that the Vikings even made it to Massachusetts at some point, though we don't have much definitive proof of that.
You've heard that term, you going berserk?
Yes.
The Vikings had a group called the Berserkians, and that's where that term came from, you're going berserk. Because they come into towns and they just destroy them.
I mean, a lot of people think about violence when they talk about Vikings, of course. There's a lot of that, but I think that there's a lot of other positive sides of the Viking culture as well. Our main mission is more about, inspiring people to take on challenges, think a little bit, around the box or like outside of the box. And I think the Vikings are an example of that. They were really pioneers.
Yeah, they commanded the ocean. They commanded the sea. At that time, they controlled the ocean.
The Draken warship is headed to both Rockland and Portland, Maine in the coming weeks. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.